What will you leave in the light before everything goes dark?
All right, guys, this is Josh with the Conquer podcast, and I've got a question for you. One that I've been asking myself every day for the past couple of weeks, and that is, what can I leave in the light if everything goes dark? The purpose of this podcast is to help anybody that is currently enduring, overcoming, or conquering something that seems insurmountable. Going through something that seems like it can't be defeated or that it won't end. That's in the middle of a battle that maybe no one knows they're going through. That could be mental, physical, spiritual. Everyone's fight is their own fight. And this podcast is meant to meet the listener where they are in their fight. This question wasn't always a philosophy until recently when it became more urgent. And let me share with you what it's cost me so far. I was born visually disabled. I have a very rare genetic disability called Achromatopsia. 1 in 70,000 people have the disability that I have. And the one silver lining in having this disability was that I was told it would never change or get worse. And in my 20s, it did, and I went blind. I lost my job. I lost everything. I lost opportunities. The phone stopped ringing, and I had to move into a dorm room for 6 months and learn to read Braille and use a cane and prepare to go permanently blind. I didn't go permanently blind. Thankfully, I learned that I had to hack my vision like I would hack my day, and I treated my eyes more like a phone battery. They had to be charged a certain amount of time to function. I had to get a certain amount of sleep. I couldn't play video games. I couldn't watch TV as much as other people. I had to really navigate light outdoors, and doing that for the last 15 years has been fine, and it's worked. About a month ago, I started to have those same issues again. They're getting substantially worse. I'm losing hours at work. I'm losing time with clients, losing time with my family. I've only lost full vision twice so far, but I can feel things changing visually. And so the question, what can I leave in the light when everything goes dark, has become at the forefront of my attention. What can I create and leave in the light before I can't see any longer? And what can last in the light when I'm forced to live in the dark? On a daily basis, I usually work 12 hours a day. I run multiple companies, and I work a lot. And the visual issues are prohibiting me from working those hours. I'm missing full half days where I cannot see anything within a foot in front of me. I have to use ocular massage masks and take pain medication and CBD. I have to let my eyes rest in complete darkness for hours at a time. There's no time period specifically. It's just when my eyes are rested, they're rested, and I can go back to work and do what I need to do. I'm probably missing about half of my hours of work right now. I also own and run a gym. I'm probably missing half of the hours that I need to own and operate this business, which is very separate from my personal training clients and the business that I run. The pain level is moderate at this point. It can get higher and lower. It's like razor blades in my eyes, and the tension in the back of my head And when I close my eyes, it's never dark. It's like a kaleidoscope at all times of light rays just jumping around and bouncing around, because I just can't process them. That's part of the disability. I don't have enough cones for the light to be processed. And it just kind of builds and builds and builds until everything's just fluorescent white. My world is very bright at all times, until it's black. It has to get brighter and brighter and brighter before it can get dark. Which is always an interesting feeling. And I don't ever really know when the vision is going to go or come. There's not a lot of warning signs. It's very disorienting when it happens. And I just have to wait and hope and pray it comes back. And typically it always has, ranging from 1 minute to 10 to 12 hours of complete vision loss at its worst. And yeah, that's kind of what a day looks like. As a kid, I had a disability that no one else had. I've never met anyone with it. No one understood it very clearly in the school system that I was in. I was told that I needed to be in special education classes. At a very, dedicated single father who did not allow me to be put in special ed classes, and instead encouraged me and worked with me on a daily basis to learn how to keep up with other kids. It was never about holding other people back so I could feel good. It was about me being able to keep up with other kids. We would play catch, which was my least favorite thing after school. If you throw a ball in the sky, it disappears. I cannot see it. It's gone forever. But we played catch, and my dad wanted me to know what it was like to play catch. And his main concept was always, if someone wants to play with you at school, I want you to be able to play with them. So you're going to learn how to play all of these games: tag, ride bikes, baseball, soccer, kickball, and you're not going to be the best, but you will know how to participate and you will know how to play. And you will be able to have that experience. And he spent every single day after school for 2 to 3 hours with me, making sure I could do those things. I didn't have a cane or a dog, even though I qualified for both. I had monoculars in class, which made me feel like a pirate. Monoculars, a small single binocular, basically, that you would put over your eye so you can see things. I cannot see overhead projections. They don't work for my vision. I'd have to write notes by hearing, which would cause me to fall behind a lot in school. So I did a lot of studying and homework after school. My dad would even print extra homework for me to do so that I could stay ahead of math and writing and English. He was a printing pressman, so he had the access to make hundreds of copies of homework for me to do on weekends. And I just kind of tried to blend in and be as normal as I could. There are tells where you would know that I had a disability then, and there were times you would just think I was wearing sunglasses inside. I never lost vision, but my world was always bright, just exponentially brighter than everyone else's. Outside on a playground, it'd be like a shutter of a camera where I'd look at something and then close my eyes and, for 10 to 15 seconds and move around and open them again and get a real quick shot of what was in front of me and close my eyes again and hope that nothing got in my way. But it's the only way I could see in the sun, which was complicated as a child, but I don't think it ever really bothered me much. I just kept kind of doing what I was doing because my dad always made me just keep moving forward. And those things, traveled into middle school and high school. And I couldn't play on sports teams other than cross country because I couldn't see outside well enough. I fell in love with the gym and weight training because it was an individual thing that I could do on my own. And kind of just made myself as abled as possible at all times so that no one questioned anything or noticed. It wasn't a topic that ever came up, and that's how I lived my life for, until I lost my vision and shattered my entire identity and reality. It was forced me to be something I'd never been before, which was disabled completely. And that's the background that led me to Conquer. I've been working on Conquer All Things for, I would say, 16 or 17 years now. And it's because of those experiences with my vision as a child and my experience going blind in my 20s. I have always wanted to help other people. I felt so incredibly alone as someone with a disability that no one else had, no one else knew of, and no one else understood. I remember joining a forum back when message boards were a thing, and being told by people with my disability across the country that I didn't have the disability that I had because the issues that I had didn't fit the mold that they understood. And it broke my heart because it's the first time I'd even reached out to anyone about my disability, just to be basically cast out and told I didn't have the disability that I have. It was extremely difficult. And it immediately created the original concept of Conquer, which was a place for people to talk about their disabilities, like a social network, and a place for parents to talk. My dad never knew anyone who had the disability that I had. He still never met anyone with it now, or parents of kids who've had it. We had to just kind of learn on the fly. And so originally this was meant to just bring people together, to help make them stronger. I've felt weak and I've always wanted to feel strong. And I think community is the number one way you can feel strength when you've never felt it before. Having a strong community is a superpower almost. And so I wanted to create that. A community is really the simplest form of the first iteration of this. And it changed over time. And I worked on this concept in my undergrad and again in grad school. And I realized I had no tech abilities and I was not an engineer and I knew nothing of social networks. And so it kind of evolved and changed over time into what it currently is, which is a gym. And right now the gym allows a safe place and a community for people to come and feel strong from each other, because of each other, with each other. Not just physically, but mentally. The main part that most people forget about exercise or physical fitness is the mental aspect. As much as you think this is a physical thing, it is 100% mental. The gym or physical activity or movement can change your entire life and perspective on situations. When I went blind in my 20s, there was an all-white brick room at the school that I lived in for 6 months. And I worked out every day in it by myself for 2 hours nonstop to mentally deal with the stress of losing my vision and going blind. I found strength in exerting and controlling the one thing that I could control, which was my body. I could control what I looked like physically, what I ate. I could control what I lifted, how I moved. And that was, that was what I needed. And I didn't know I even needed it until I found it. So for me, having this place was the first step of really creating a place for people to come together. But Conquer is so much bigger than one room, and I need it to help and touch as many people as I can. So now it needs to exist outside of these walls, and it needs to bring in more people like you who are listening and watching now. My hope is that you're able to find personal inner strength from the things that you're going to hear from people that are on this podcast or from me, and that you're going to share your stories, and I'm going to become stronger because of your stories of conquering. And that's how this community works. We are stronger together. And you are so much more capable than you know. I tell this to everybody. It's one of my catchphrases. You are stronger and more capable than you know. Again, that's not physical. That's also mental. It's emotional. It's sharing your stories and being vulnerable with each other, with people you can trust. And that's what this community needs to become. A place where we can feel stronger together as we conquer all things. For those of you that don't think you've ever endured, overcome, or actually conquered something, you don't feel like you've earned that, or maybe your perception of conquering is a finality. I'm here to tell you it's not. Conquering is not final. the definition of conquer is strongly overcoming weaknesses and excuses. That's not finite. That's perpetual. It continues. You can be in the fight that you're in right now, and by just overcoming an excuse or an obstacle in your way, just one, you're on the right track. It's not about being perfect and being the dominating conqueror of everything around you. That's not real. It's about looking in your daily life and doing one thing just for you that only you know you're doing that is helping you in your fight. That's all it takes to get started. Just one thing. And if you're feeling like you can't even do that one thing, we're here to give you tools and resources to help you begin that journey, because you don't have to do it alone. No one fights alone. If you are feeling like you're alone in the fight that you're in, I'm here to tell you that you're not, and that this community is here for you already. You're already a part of it just by being here. And we will get you on the track to feeling how you should feel, which is capable and stronger than you know. So as we start this journey in this podcast together, some things that you can look for this season is going to be naming your fight, and giving it the name that it deserves. It's going to be defining what your fight is. It's going to be visibly calling out the obstacles that are in front of you and then game planning and strategizing around them. It's going to be really at its heart showing you that you survive nothing and you conquer all things. So this episode is going to be an example of the Conqueror's Journal. It's just going to be one-on-one with me and you. And my hope is that you can take something away from this segment, and that you can give something back to me, right? This is a relationship. This is a community. So as much as I'm giving, I also want to receive comments and messages. I want to know where you're at. If something hit, please comment, share, and like, and let us know where you're at in your current journey, your current fight, and continue to grow this as we build it together.